Next game, I also enjoyed that because I thought the Oilers were going to win. I thought they were going to hang on, and they did. So it had a fine ending. I won't say it had a fine ending to the game, and it was an exciting hockey game in the third period. Like I was on the edge of my seat and just wondering what's going to happen. I wasn't checking ahead on the NHL play-by-play to see who, because I'm usually like 3 or 4 minutes behind doing my grade A shot stuff. I didn't do that. Yeah. I just wanted to have that suspense.
Well, and a lot of compelling stories in the game as well. Like the two guys in the crease, talk about, you may not agree, but you can't argue with compelling. Like those are two really interesting stories in between the pipes, right? So
they really are, and it was a interesting game for both of them. So we will talk about the Oilers goalie situation at the end.
Yep. And
we'll also talk about Trent Frederick then, because those are two separate subjects, not really outside the game, but that we're going to just talk at the end. The grade A shots in this game, Kurt, Vegas had a slight advantage in the grade A shots, 16-15, mainly because in the third period they just came alive.
Yeah, they outshot them 12-3 in the third, right?
And the subset of 5 alarm shots, the most deadly of all, 33 percenters, Oilers 10, Vegas 6. So again, they tell the tale of the game, like who was really the dominant team. Because the Oilers were. It's easy to kind of forget that because in the first half of the game, they just crushed Vegas.
Oh, it was just a fire wagon. Like, what a show.
It looked
certainly the momentum turned, but I think on balance, the better team did win tonight, albeit closer than you would have liked in the end.
Yeah, 3-4 goal lead, the worst lead in hockey. It looked like the old Oilers, Kurt. It looked like, and this has been coming for some time, right? Like where they finally look like the Oilers again that made the Stanley Cup Finals 2 years running and could beat anybody on a given night. So they're looking like that team again. Although they've got still, obviously, a major problem on the bottom 2 lines. They've got to get those going. But other than that, they look like a good team now.
Yeah, and I got to say a few things. One, the Oilers had not blown a 4-goal lead at home since 1993. That's not my number. That's just an interesting little point. And yeah, I thought that the Oilers offensively really had their mojo tonight. They missed a couple of chances. Like how did that one by Savoy at the doorstep, how did that not go in?
And I thought gate, yeah,
and I thought Henrique had put it in just before that, and Hyman hit a post, and so
and Draisaitl with the open net, of course, on the power play.
Oh my God, yeah, it's like he never misses that. It's like wow. So yeah, there was a lot of great storylines, high skill hockey. I agree with you. It was an entertaining 60 minutes of hockey for sure.
I was thinking momentarily of complaining about Draisaitl not scoring there. And then I thought, would that ever be a cheap thing to say? Because, what you could say is, well, he should have just stopped the puck and aimed it and put it in the open net. And maybe on that play he should have. But how many times, when it doesn't look like there's anything to shoot at, because he fires that so fast and so hard, so fast, gets it off so quickly, he scores. When it doesn't look like there's anywhere to score. So
he's got a pretty high batting average, yeah.
Just keep doing what you're doing, Leon. Don't listen.
You're going to miss the odd one. It's okay.
Sure are.
Yeah, but that one was, I think everybody in the rink thought that was in.
I thought it was in for sure. I couldn't believe how wide open that was. All right, Kurt, 2 good things, 2 bad things, 2 numbers. What is your good thing, Amundo?
Boy, I will pick the low-hanging fruit tonight. Connor McDavid was just absolutely flying in this one and utterly dominant over the first 40 minutes of the game. Early he took a really smart feed by Draisaitl. Leon hit him in full stride, and McDavid just shot past 3 defenders. I mean, like they weren't even there, David. And then Deeks the goaltender for the 1-0. Like, I think it's important that we stop and talk about these plays. You mentioned it a podcast or 2 ago. Sometimes we get a little complacent. Like, oh, yeah, McDavid, he's great and everything. No, a lot of these goals will be in candidates for the highlight of the year. Like, it was really something else, and he was just getting going. He drew the first power play by beating 3 defenders again. Like, it's just, he was just, his one rush, they clocked him at, I think it was 35 kilometers an hour, which is faster than I drive to the grocery store here on Fender Island. So, but then on that power play, he got the secondary helper on the 2-0, and then he was on the PK. And I know you and I have mixed opinions about whether he should be on the PK or not, but he was an absolute menace on that kill at the end of the second period. Just about scored once, had a steal. Like, Vegas was just like they were going to fall to pieces. And then his pass across to Nugent Hopkins for the 3-0. Then with it 4-0, he set up Nugent Hopkins not once but twice, where it could have been 5-0, and the game really would have been over at that point. 5 shots in 1944. He's the best player in the world, and it's nights like this where you go, yeah, he certainly is.
I don't know how many points McKinnon got today.
I didn't see either.
Updated. So McDavid got 3. They came into the game tied, 59 points each, with McKinnon looking like he's got 2 games in hand. So he's still ahead. I think he got 2 or 3 points tonight as well. So
I have great admiration for Nate McKinnon. Let's see if he can hold off McDavid.
Let's see if he can. Let's see if he can. You know, of course, I ripped McDavid last game on the PK because he overcommitted. And the PK, Connor McDavid is not by nature a zone defender, and probably would excel more in a man-to-man system.
That's entirely fair.
I think so. On the PK, it's completely a zone. Like, there's an extra guy out there. You must play a zone, and it's all about carefully moving around, getting your stick in the right position, like having a sense of where everyone is on the ice on the other team, and being in that right spot, not really covering anyone in particular necessarily. It's very difficult, and some players do it very well. I actually think Evan Bouchard's pretty good at it. Like, he's a
better PK than most people give him credit for. I agree.
He's not a great one-on-one, like, he's not a great man-on-man defender, but he is a good zone defender. So it's interesting which players do well in that and which players don't.
Well, if you think of Bouchard's personality, everybody talks about how cool he is, and frankly, to be a defenseman on the PK, that is an attribute, right? Plus, he's got a great reach and a good stick. So yeah, it'll be a long time before anybody gives him full credit for just how good of a penalty killer Evan is. So
it's interesting. Nuge and Henrique used to be the last year were the 2 guys out there together. I thought to start. They split them up this year, haven't they? They haven't been using them as much together.
Yeah, they have not been together much, no.
I wonder why that is. I wonder if there was some analytics that said something about that, or if they just wanted center out there at all times. Or
I also think they wanted to put Savoy with a veteran on the PK, and that may have had something to do with it. So
yeah, I think Savoy has potential as a PK guy. I think he's like McDavid. He's more of a man-to-man guy, but he generally gets it right.
Yep. Moves really quick out there, right? Which is another real attribute. If you're not super smart like a Henrique, you'd better move fast like Savoy does. So
he is. He can be fast. Okay, my good thing will be the power play. Although I just want to hold on McDavid for 1 second. That first goal, Kurt, where he came barreling around the corner like a bat out of hell. That was, my wife said, she takes power skating. She's quite a good skater, actually, for somebody who didn't skate a lot as a kid. Anyway, she said, man, McDavid really trusts his edges. And that is an amazing play that he made on his edges, cutting into the middle like that at such a high speed. And also under the threat of being absolutely obliterated by a check. You know, a guy coming in almost on his blind spot as he's cutting to the middle like that. You know,
or the post.
Yeah, or a post. Get pushed into the post.
Yeah, it's fearless. I totally agree, and your wife is bang on in terms of McDavid has. If he doesn't have the best edges in hockey, it's damn close.
Him and Makar, right? Makar has a different kind of edge work.
Makar has brilliant edges. I used to teach power skating. So.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Cool.
There was lots of reasons why I didn't make the NHL, David, but skating wasn't one of them. I could skate. I had other shortcomings that I couldn't overcome.
Well, that was an amazing play, and a courageous one. Like I don't think there's been such a courageous attacker of the net on the Oilers since Glenn Anderson, who also went in there like a bat out of hell.
And Connor has been hurt on that play, so the fact that he keeps doing it, and I've heard him talk about it in the past interviews, he firmly believes that's a part of who he is as an attacker, and it doesn't sound like he's the least bit interested in giving it up. So
it's a huge part of his game, right? I mean, there was 2 or 3 times tonight where he goes bursting through all these guys. So
yeah,
what a hockey player!
And that pass by Draisaitl on that play was perfect.
Yeah,
right? The timing was just right on. So.
And I was thinking about the same of the power play, Kurt. So we have been blessed to be able to watch this power play the last few years. It really, like, if you're a hockey fan and you love hockey and you love skill plays, there's been no better place than Edmonton the last 6-7 years. I mean, they had a bad year. I think 2018-19 was the last year they had a bad year. But the power play work, it is just so awesome. And tonight it was Draisaitl, who, it was a really interesting play where Hyman's in the deep slot and he backs out. And I wonder if they've worked on a little play where all the focus is on Hyman and they know that he's such a danger to score, and they thought, let's back him out and then shoot Nugent there, because they've got 2 goals like that in a few games. And this was the second one. And it was just a beautiful pass by Draisaitl, spotting Nuge charging in there through all that thicket of players, like through 2 or 3 or 4 players. Draisaitl sees him and puts it over to Nugent Hopkins, and it's in the net. That was just fantastic.
Yep. Yeah, it's take any member of that power play and put them on any other NHL team, and they're on the first unit there as well. It's the guy who probably gets the least press on that power play is Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, but so much of it runs through him. He's such a great possession player. I think he's this is an overused phrase, but I think he's the glue guy on that power play.
He totally is. He really is. He's gorilla glue. And he scored again. Another great passing play where Draisaitl makes a brilliant pass. It hits Hyman skates to McDavid in the slot. And McDavid, they are so cool, Kurt. They are cool. They got the alligator blood. And he gets it like 80-90% of the players in the NHL would just slam a shot on net. Mm-hmm. And he doesn't, and he finds Nugent Hopkins, who just takes his time and slams it in the net.
I was just going to say, we've seen that a few times this year from Nugent Hopkins, where instead of just hurrying it, he understands how much time and space he has, right?
It is obviously a big part of the Oilers' success. It's been a big part of the Oilers' playoff success. And it's just keeping on going. It's a historic run. And the only power play that compares to it is the New York Islanders power play of the early 1980s. They didn't keep power play stats before about 1978 on a team level. So it's hard to compare it to the power plays, let's say, of the 50s of the Montreal Canadiens, which were supposed to be incredible as well. Mm-hmm. So let's add that to the list of being another one of these all-time great power plays. But we're seeing this. And it's funny because the 1980s power play of the Oilers was good, but it wasn't great. And these guys...
Which is kind of stunning when you think about it, right? Like, how wasn't it?
It was really good, but it wasn't great. Yeah. Because they had the guns, they had everything going, but maybe they just were too creative, those guys. Maybe they just didn't really want to have any kind of systemic play. They just wanted to create it all. I don't know. But they were really good, too, on the power play. Mm-hmm. Kurt, your bad thing.
I hate picking on this guy, and I think this has been the second time in the recent past that I've had him as my bad thing, and that's Alec Regula, who I'm on record on this podcast as saying I'm intrigued by him, his size, his wingspan, his ability to move as a big man, his ability to move the puck. He has a lot of tools, You know, I think this guy could be a real player for the Oilers, but he's in a rough patch right now that he can't seem to get out of, and he stayed in that rut tonight. Um, you know, he did have a nice assist on the 1-0 goal. He's up to 3 assists now, so the points after a really dry start in the point department have started to come for him, but he's struggling on defense. I thought he was way too soft on his man on that 4-3 goal. That's the play that's been one of 2 plays that's really been bugging him right now. But he also had 4 turnovers in this game. And I think I'm starting to see the coaching staff lose a little bit of faith in him. And at the same time, Spencer Stastny is starting to turn into a really interesting player for the Oilers. And at the end of the game with the Oilers trying to preserve that 4-3 lead, Alex Regula came off of that second pair with Darnell Nurse, and Spencer Stastny went on his wrong hand for the last 3 minutes of the game and came up with a couple of significant plays to help close it out. We've talked about this before, that, you know, in a perfect world, Regula would have some AHL time just to work through this, because that's probably all it is, right? Is just, you just need some reps to work through it. The problem with him not being waiver exempt is the only way to work through it is in the game or in practice while you're up in the press box. And I know you and I have a slightly different view on that, and that's cool. But in the meantime, he just ain't hitting on all 4 cylinders, and he'll work his way out of it, but there could be a few more nights like this before he ends up on the other side.
Yeah, I wanted him in the press box a couple games, and he ended up there, but they said it was because he was sick, and I guess he really was sick.
Yeah, apparently so.
He was very sick. You know, I felt a little sorry for him, Kurt. So I there is a number of mistakes. I track 4 major mistakes on grade A shots against. 2 of them come on the sequence of the third goal for Vegas. There was a little bit of bad luck there because Regula got his stick on a pass, right? There was a pass going across the crease. He manages to get a stick on it, and it deflected to the Vegas player who then put it back to Marner. Or maybe
and then it deflected off Nurse.
Yeah,
so there were 2 deflections in there.
The real culprit on that goal in my mind was McDavid, who was supposed to be checking Mitch Marner and lost his check. He was actually on the right side of Marner in the slot, and Marner, you know, and the offensive players go hard to the net, and offensive players don't go hard to the net on defense. They go hard to the net on the attack, and McDavid just lost track of them, and he scored. He was a step late on it, but so it was a tough play for Regula. Maybe if he'd been tighter on the passer, like if you're saying the gap was too much initially on the passer, but he did get a stick on it and then just went to the wrong guy on a deflection. It's a tough play.
I thought it was a soft play is what it was, and a guy of that size who can skate as well as Regula can, it had to have been a gap issue. That a guy got a half step on him and then he just couldn't contain him. But an NHL defenseman, Dave, has to contain the attacker on that play.
Yeah,
and he just didn't. Right, so
I'm not yet. I have to admit, I like some of the things I see on Team Stastny. I think he's an interesting player. I'm not. I'm just going to withhold my opinion for a while because I'm not sure about him yet.
And that's fine.
He and it's like a lot of people are super enthusiastic about Matt Savoy. And I really would like Matt Savoy to make it on the Oilers. And I see all kinds of attributes. But I also see a guy who's averaging less than 1 point per 60 at 5-on-5. And for a winger who has had a fair amount of time now with the big guys and, you know, hardly any time on the 4th line, that's not good enough.
Hey, I write about Matt Savoy tonight. I say fairly solid 5v5 effort on defense, but not much going with the puck. And after
Kurt,
he had a brief hot spot, but then he's cooled off again. I agree.
He's got I think it's a confidence issue. I think he can handle that puck. He's just got to internalize that inner Jack Roslovic, who's such a cool guy with the puck. And or Bouchard, he's got to make up his mind he's going to be calm with the puck and he's going to make plays with that puck, which is hard to do, right? Super hard to do.
Well,
that's
what
what
I
I
was
see.
going to say. I agree with your assessment. Here's the thing with young players, and I just said this about Nugent Hopkins. How can Nugent Hopkins score those goals net side? It's because he understands that he has what time and space he has. Savoy doesn't have enough reps in the NHL to understand that in all those situations yet. It's a time and reps thing, right? It happens with young players. It's why Ike Howard is way too good for the AHL right now, but he just didn't quite have his timing down in the NHL when he was here.
I actually quite liked Ike's take with the puck when he was here. He wasn't yet he wasn't yet putting it all together, but I did like that aspect of him when he had the puck on his stick, man. He would get off some good shots. He knew how to get off a shot to find the time and space to do that. So,
yeah, I agree. I liked how aggressive he was as well, but he almost always had more time than he thought he had.
Yeah.
And I think he just would have scored more if he had understood that. But that's the thing with most rookies. Unless you're exceptional, it takes a while to get to understand that in the middle of battle.
Yeah. Honestly, I'm seeing with Stastny a little bit of that, like a little bit of the hand grenade stuff with the puck. So I think he's a great skater and a good good defensor, okay to good defenseman, like defensively. But I want to see his puck play over time because that's where it's going to rise or fall for the player on the Oilers.
Well, you mentioned skating. That's why I'm such a fan of him. He is at least as good of a skater as Brett Kulak was, and I think he might even be better than Kulak when it comes to the tight areas, where he's, speaking of a guy who has good edges and great acceleration out of tight spots, he does. And that's something that you can't teach. You either can do that or you can't. So
yeah, the thing Kulak had, of course, though, was about 3 inches of height and 6 inches of reach.
And as you know, you won't catch me saying anything bad about Brett Kulak. It's just an interesting comparison to draw.
Yeah,
right?
well, it's the obvious one, right? Because he's replaced him in the lineup.
Yeah.
So.
Speaking of comparisons, how's that for an irony? Because you mentioned Matt Savoy. It seems like Matt Savoy gets all sorts of second chances because he's the local guy, and Stuart Skinner seemed to get the opposite. Like, how do you lose that draw?
I don't think so, though, because Stuart Skinner.
Oh no! I think Stuart Skinner got a rough ride by his hometown, don't you? Oh yeah.
Well, not
whereas Matt Savoy, I think, gets treated with kid gloves in this town. I absolutely do.
I think if we went back to Skinner's first year, I agree with you on Savoy.
Well, sure, but that's a long time ago now, Dave. You accuse me of recency bias if you want, but
well,
I've been reading the papers the last 2 years, and Stuart Skinner wasn't the most popular guy in town.
He made people nervous, Kurt.
He did, me included, and I liked him.
My bad thing. I thought Curtis Lazar was rusty on the PK, and it showed. He's been out a bit here, and the first goal, his job is to cover off that pass into the interior slot and let Bouchard handle the guy down low. His stick was on the wrong side, and he allowed the pass into Hurdle, who got off a good shot. So, and listen, it's so difficult to get this right. This is I think he was a little tired at that point. I noticed he had hustled it hard, and by the time he got back to the slot to defend it, he was just a little bit tired, and he wasn't aware of where Hurdle was. He has to be aware of where that guy in the middle of the ice is. And when the guy on the half wall got it, he wasn't, and his stick was on the wrong side, and it went right into Hurdle easily, and Hurdle got off a very dangerous shot to score. The second one, again, was this time he wasn't aware of where his teammate was, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. They were both defending that Hurdle shot from the high slot area, but Nuge was there this time, and he didn't have to be. But he packed in tight. Instead of going out to the point to take out, to make the point shot more difficult, there was a wide open point shot because Lazar was packed in tight instead of moving out, flowing out as he should have been. And again, I just think he's rusty. I think that, and maybe just a wee bit, possibly winded or out of shape at this point coming back. And, these are small mistakes. They happen so quickly, just like McDavid's mistake on the third goal. When you make a mistake in hockey, it's punished ruthlessly and quickly, and that's all it takes to have a 4-0 lead turn to a 4-3 lead. So yeah, I think he's been a pretty good penalty killer this year. And I'm not saying that he's made tons of mistakes like this all year. I can't remember actually singling him out for a mistake on the PK before, but I do think there was two of them that were pretty significant tonight.
I saw one play the same as you and the other one a little bit different, but I accept that neither he nor Adam Henrique were at their best tonight, and those are two veterans who move at medium speed, if I can say that, who need to think their way through games. And the one mistake by Lazar that I did pin on him, I thought was a mental error. And that's, so those are guys like Henrique and Lazar can't make those because that's why they're both still in the NHL. Right?
Henrique, we were really, I started criticizing him, and then both of us were quite praiseful for about a month there because he was playing really well. Man, he has crashed in the last
few games. I agree. It's
killing the third line, and I don't know what they're going to do. Like they have these top two lines now that are wonderful, right? Like Roslovic, Podkolzin, and Draisaitl, Nugent Hopkins, McDavid, and Hyman. You can go to the Stanley Cup final with those two first lines, but you can't go to the Stanley Cup final with a third line of Henrique and whoever else he's been with, Mangiapane and Janmark or Savoy. Like it's not. And Henrique is the linchpin of that. He is a fourth line center at this point.
I agree with that. I still think he's a really important member of this team, but I do think he's a fourth line center at this point. I agree. Here's the trick. Everybody goes, this is easy. Put Ryan Nugent-Hopkins at third line center. Did you watch him on the first line tonight?
Yeah.
Sure, you can do that, and he's probably the best 3C in the league, or at least one of the top three best, third line centers in the league. But he's so good with McDavid. Like, there aren't many. Everybody says, it's easy to play with McDavid. Bullshit. It's hard to play with McDavid. You have to be really fast and really smart. And Ryan Nugent-Hopkins is one of those rare guys who can think at McDavid's level. It honestly, it is not such an easy solution to move Ryan Nugent-Hopkins to 3C.
I can't imagine a bigger nightmare than playing with Connor McDavid, other than playing with Leon Draisaitl. They're both such great, but also demanding hockey players, and even if they didn't never said anything, you would feel the demand. You would. Well,
David, look at Team Canada. Look how hard it was for them. These are the best hockey players on the planet, and they couldn't find a guy to play with them in the biggest tournament in the world.
Well, they left off Zach Hyman. They've got to pick him this year. They won't, but they should pick Hyman. Yeah. They'll be foolish not to, but they will be foolish. I'm starting to feel Bouchard might make it, though. Like, there's lots of little... I think they're afraid of what happens if Makar gets hurt and they lose the gold medal because they don't have a power play guy. I think it's dawning on them. We could get blamed if we don't have the best power play guy on earth other than Cale Makar leading on the team. And we have all our eggs in that basket. I think they're starting to think, why don't we do that as insurance?
I'm with you. Like, if Bouchard isn't one of your top six, I'm okay with that. But why would you not have him on the squad so that if Makar like pulls his groin or something, like, gee, you can put the defenseman for the best power play in the league from the past 3 years on. Like, how's that not a good thing?
I agree. See what happens there.
We should run that team, Dave.
I'd have lots of Oilers. Except I'd be tempted to leave the Oilers off so they could get a break. All right, Kurt, your number.
Prior to tonight, this season, the Oilers were 0-3-3 on the second of back-to-backs. This is their first victory on the second of back-to-backs this season.
Wow. Nice. Big win. They almost lost it. That was a tough game in Minnesota yesterday. Louis DeBrusk was saying it was a good defensive effort by both teams. Man, the Oilers just got shredded on defense against the Wild. There were so many shots.
Yeah, I thought the Oilers were good in some areas, but I saw the same defensive results as you, Dave.
Wow, they just got brutalized Minnesota, and then Minnesota just got stomped by the Avs. Whew, those Avs.
It's a tight league, man. It's Gary wanted parity. He's got parity.
So, Kurt, I'm going to go back to the little power play appreciation moment for my number. And the Oilers are number one on the power play again right now in the NHL. They're clipping along at a 32.7% rate.
That's good, right?
We don't know where they're going to finish, but the best year that they've had was in 22-23 when they were at 32.4%. So they had trended down the last couple of years, and I actually think it's probably a good thing to get a change if you're bringing in a coach who really knows what he's doing. Paul McFarland seems like a coach who does, who is really, really bright, and there's been some wrinkles. It's a different power play than last year. It's a little less predictable, it feels like to me, Kurt. Yep. And they're getting so in their best year. So I track the grade A shots on the power play, and in their best year per 2-minute power play, 2 minutes of power play time in 2022-23, they had 1.43 grade A shots per 2 minutes. This year, 1.52. This power play's never been more efficient, according to my own video review of the power play, than it is this year. It's so far they are just killing it.
Yeah, no argument there. Parts of the power play are the same, like Ryan Nugent-Hopkins over on that left wall, up and down like a piston, the backhand to the point man, like he's been doing that for years, right? But Nugent-Hopkins on the attack on the power play, they're using him differently this year. And when you've got supremely talented and creative players, why not throw in extra fresh looks, right? Because these guys can execute it. There's no reason to stay with what you've done, forever and ever. Amen. It's the thing about pre-scouts is you're looking for a pattern out of any power play, right?
Yeah.
As much as you're looking at the manpower, you're looking at the patterns. Well, if you can throw a wrinkle into the pattern, that throws the PK into complete disarray because we didn't see that coming. So I don't think there's anything wrong with having some different planned looks for this power play, but also let them freestyle a little bit. Like, you've got some of the best players on the planet, certainly some of the best power play players on the planet. Let them go, man. Let them go.
It's amazing, Kurt, that in 2017-18, this was a power play that clipped along at a 14.8% success rate. They were one of the worst power plays in the NHL. Let me just see where they ranked in the NHL that year because I have the rankings here. They were 31st, that power play. Power play with Leon Draisaitl and Connor McDavid was the 31st. And as much as anything, it's why Todd McLellan got fired, I think. Like Woodcroft was running the power play at that time. And the mistake he made was he didn't let McDavid move and freelance. He was tied to the boards at that point. And it was only after they moved out Woodcroft and McClelland that McDavid was allowed to start wheeling and dealing.
Was that Oscar change on that? Was that Clefbaum on that?
Yeah, it was Oscar, who wasn't a great. He was a fairly mechanical power player.
Yeah, above average, but not spectacular, right?
It's not a great shot, not a great passer. So one of the things I'm noticing, and it might be more recency bias because I thought he looked good on the power play tonight. I think they figured out how to include Evan Bouchard a little bit better, like how to work in his shots from the outside more organically, rather than kind of obviously as a last resort. They're kind of moving it around to him, and he's getting a little lower on his shots, and he's dangerous out there. Certainly tonight, I just wasn't sensing he's way back there and he's never getting any shots, and he was dangerous. Nuge is, and they're moving Nuge too. Like, they move him around. Like, he's much more active than just stapled to that wall, and he's both of those players. So the high before was 2022-23. So that was 1.43 grade A shots per 2. Then it went to 1.36 the next year, then 1.18 per 2 last year. They were really down last year in terms of creating grade A shots significantly, but they've shot right back up. So I think it's whatever the new coach has done, it's working. Kurt, let's first talk about Trent Frederick. What did you think of him getting benched?
Well, I mean, I think we saw it coming. Although it feels like Chris Knobloch waited a little longer than a lot of us might have. But hey, I can understand why he would have waited longer. Look, you just gave up valuable assets for this guy and committed to this guy for a long time. You know, it's so why wouldn't you let him try to work through it? So I do get that. But aside from a flash here and a flash there, this isn't the Trent Frederick that I saw play for Boston. And the biggest difference I see is it looks like he's down half a step. And if he had a high ankle sprain, we perhaps shouldn't have expected him to be back to, in quotes, normal until well after Christmas. But hey, it's the 21st of December. You know, it is almost after Christmas. And he just cannot get on track. So, look, you know me, I'm a guy who doesn't believe that putting a guy in the press box is punishment. I think it can be a really good thing. Sometimes it can really help a young player. Just, we were talking about Savoy earlier, about, you know, just understand how much time and space you actually have out there. For Frederick, it's maybe it's a reset. Maybe it's a kick in the ass. And while it's tempting to say maybe he just needs some time physically to get where he needs to be, I don't know. I'm not sure if I can say with any belief that that's the reason why they did this. I ultimately support it, but I don't think you can sit him for long. I already said all these things. You gave up assets. You committed to this guy. He's got to get there. And if this is a tool to getting them there, hey, I'm all for that. But something's got to give.
I think I wrote almost a month ago that they should do the healthy scratch him. You've done some interesting work on this, and Low Tide also has done some. Alan Mitchell has done some work, and I have Low Tide's numbers in front of me. I'll just read what he wrote at the end of November. This is using NHL Edge numbers on how fast the player is skating in a game. And he writes, Frederick's foot speed this season, 35 kph. Is that what it is? Did they measure
kilometers per hour? That's
kilometers per hour. Yeah, okay, kilometers per hour. I thought it was always you don't usually write kmh, but anyway, 35 kilometers per hour is slower than last season at 35.5 kilometers per hour, and the playoffs in the spring 35.9 kilometers per hour. So he's down a kilometer per hour even compared to the playoffs. He was at essentially 37 kilometers an hour in the 92nd percentile, near the top of the league in the 2022 playoffs, and may never get back there, Low Tide says. I know high ankle sprains take time, and this was known at the time of the trade. Frederick gets ripped daily by fans, but for me, this is an Oilers thing. Management and coaching should acknowledge the issue and have him work through it without costing the team. So I agree with the move. I think at this point it would be irresponsible to keep playing him. He's not one of the 12 best forwards on the team. He's not close. He's getting personally caved in on battles throughout the game. And he's leaking grade A shots at a much higher rate than any other winger. It's not like a little bit, it's a lot. And he's got 0.46 points per 60. That's not, you don't stay in the NHL. Like if you get below 1 point per 60, you better have some amazing defensive or pugilistic skills to stay in the NHL. Well, he has neither at this point. And so he's just got an 8-year contract. And with the speed numbers where he was, 2 kilometers an hour faster on average 3 years ago, we can see why people were excited about this. I can imagine Trent Frederick being a step faster and more agile. And like he likes to hit, and he's a willing hitter, but he can't even get in there and do a big hit on anyone because they're always ready for him because he's there a half step late. So he does hit you, but he doesn't hit you when you're not ready for it, and so he doesn't punish. He needs to rehab. He needs to rehab. They need to work. They need to get him figure out. Okay, he's got to get faster. These numbers are indicative. We gave him the 8-year contract because of the player he was. He ain't that guy anymore. This is the reality.
Or at least he isn't right now.
That's right. Work with him, though. He could get, he's 27. Mm-hmm. The injuries that as far as I know, they weren't, if they were so severe that he couldn't regain his speed, then it's utter incompetence that they ever gave him an 8-year deal. If they, if his injuries, if they didn't know that would be a firing offense. But I think they knew that he was working his way back, and they thought he can get there. Well, he's not. He needs some special help. It will not hurt the player to sit for 4 weeks and watch the games and work on his skating and come back hopefully a half step faster. I don't know how long it's going to take, and I think Oilers fans are patient. And if that was acknowledged by the team and by the team essentially, listen, his injury is taking longer than we thought for him to get his speed back. We've decided we're going to have an intensive program with this player. It's not punishment, and we're going to get him back up to speed as quickly as fast as we can. Get him back in some games. So we're going to give him a timeout right now because he's turning every fan in oil country against him. That's no way to handle a player either. And probably players on his team, let's be honest, are fed up with how he's playing as well.
Players always know first.
Yeah, that's right.
Always
so
know first.
Kurt.
I'll give you two quick takes on that. One, in addition to the speed, and you're right. I had tracked his speed a little bit earlier in the season, but Allen's numbers are fresher than mine, so I'm glad that you brought them up. I don't just see it in the speed department, though. I see it in his hitting, and it's not that he's having difficulty getting there, even though I think that's a factor. There's no lift to his hits.
Yeah.
If you go back to the game when he tried to come back after we had acquired him, and remember his first shift, and it was right against the wall, and he went and he took the guy out, but you could tell something went wrong right away. He left the ice. He didn't come back. That was the only hit I've seen him throw in an Oilers jersey where there was lift to his hits. And he clearly re-injured himself on that play, right? One of the things that a high ankle sprain does cost you is lift. It does. It's a physical fact. And so I think we're seeing that play out as well. He's a different physical player because of what I perceive to be his injury. David, if we're right, and this is all about injury and he hasn't been able to come back from it, well, then I think the team owes him time on LTIR to rehab this properly.
Completely agree, Kurt. And listen, they've got lots of forwards. It would be nice to have him back this year, playing at a decent level. But if he can't do it, if it's going to be like last year in the playoffs, no. Like that was that was one of the things that held the Oilers back all playoffs long, is the truth. And we were always trying to convince ourselves, well, he's playing, he's doing okay. He has not done okay. And you know what? And I just want to Trent Frederick probably doesn't listen to this podcast, but everybody here is rooting for Trent Frederick.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, we've got to. He's got an 8-year deal. So,
yeah.
But nonetheless, but more than that, we are really rooting for Trent Frederick. Nobody has, very few people have some kind of hate on for Trent Frederick. Yeah. They're frustrated with this contract. If the situation, signed a 2-year contract like Connor Brown, yeah. And remember, I was just trying to think the difference between Connor Brown's comeback and Frederick's comeback, and I think the difference is we all really knew that Connor Brown had been off a year and had a serious injury and was fighting through it. That's never really been acknowledged with Frederick. It seems like he should have been healthy by now, but that's obviously not the case. I think the skating numbers demonstrate that.
Yeah.
So people will root for this player. Be honest about it. Give him some time off, And I think the fans will respect that. And if he comes back and hustles and shows some more speed, Connor Brown is killing it this year in New Jersey. And I wonder if it's taken him all this time on a certain level to really get that speed back. Like it takes time to recover from major injury. And it took Connor Brown a long time to do that for the Oilers. So let's keep that in mind, that this Trent Frederick is just Connor Brown. He's a guy who suffered a major leg injury and is fighting his way back. And he ain't doing too well, but hopefully he can pick it up and get going again, just like Connor Brown did. And I've got my fingers crossed. I think it's a coin flip whether that will happen or not. Because sometimes it doesn't, depending on the player, how hard the player is willing to work, for instance, and the extent of the injury and how well they understand it, all those things. So, but I think he's got a good chance.
My brief closing thought on this is it brings into focus just how diligent of a trainer and how gifted of an athlete that Leon Draisaitl was, that he barely skipped a beat with his high ankle sprain.
Amazing, eh?
Isn't it, when you think about it in retrospect? It's pretty stunning.
What a character Leon Draisaitl is. Like he's one of the biggest characters we've ever seen on the Oilers. Like easily.
I love the two-hander he gave Hertl tonight, because that should have been a penalty against Hertl. That check from behind, right? It should have been a 2-minute minor. But you know what? If you're a star in this league, you've got every right to protect yourself. So Thomas Hertl's going to think twice about running Leon Draisaitl from behind next time, because Leon will break his damn wrist. I don't mind that at all. Ask Gordie Howe how that worked out for him over the years.
2 thumbs up, Kurt. I loved it. And the only thing I regretted about it is that Draisaitl didn't hit him harder. In a more vulnerable spot.
I love that, yeah.
Although listen, if I'm completely fair, there's a non-zero chance that the collision was accidental. That Hertl and Draisaitl they were both have their eyes on different things, and they both kind of come together and you're not buying this.
Not for a second. Sorry. I think he knew exactly what he was doing.
I said a non-zero chance. So I'm going to say it's like 20% chance. But what I think happened was Hertl realized they were going to come together, and then he didn't stop, and then he went into the hit. So
Hertl's a sneaky, dirty player.
I think he is a sneaky, dirty player. He's the Mikko Rantanen of.
That's a good way of putting it.
He's not that bad. Rantanen is just a menace this year.
Yeah.
He's playing like an ass, honestly. Like Marchand. Do you see Brad Marchand nut that goalie with his stick? That is disgusting. Did he get
suspended? With Marchand, you kind of expect it from him, right?
Geez. Did he get suspended? That team is so dirty. It just drives me crazy.
They are, but they've got 2 Stanley Cup rings.
Yes, they do, Kurt. Messier was dirty too, right? And
he was.
I never complained too hard about that. So
it's not dirty if he plays for you.
Okay, the goalie situation. Let's end up there. Connor Ingram looked really, really good.
Yeah, you know what? I graded him a 7 tonight. I thought the 4-2. I thought that wasn't a good rebound on the 4-2 goal. But look, the Oilers were outshot.
It was deflected, Kurt, wasn't it?
Yeah, I docked him. I docked him a full mark for the rebound.
Okay.
On the goal. I didn't think that was great, but that's not like that's faint praise. I mean, he made 28 saves. Like, he made 12 saves in the third period. Given that this guy had, I believe, in terms of goaltenders who had played enough minutes to qualify, I believe he had the worst goals against average and save percentage in the American Hockey League. Now, there's all kinds of context that comes with that we're not getting to the weeds of that tonight. But for him to come up and play like one of the better teams in the NHL, like Vegas is a going concern, right? And looked like he hadn't skipped a beat, is very encouraging. For one thing, it gives you the opportunity to let Tristan Jarry get better. Like, take your time, rehab this properly, because Jarry's better than either or 2 of these guys, and he's the guy you want as your number 1. And if Ingram can be your 1B with Calvin Pickard for 10 games here, whatever it is, That's great, right? So encouraging signs tonight, and of course Pickard's been good his last couple times out too. So what was looking like a freaking disaster, all of a sudden was, gee, they might be okay. So we'll see.
So they say Jari is out for 2 weeks, so that means he should be back sometime in April.
April? No.
That's
if
what
it's
I'm
2 weeks.
Oh,
I see. It's the Chris Knobloch joke. Gotcha.
Yes,
Sorry.
I
should have been quicker on the switch.
You're just doing the math thinking, no, that's wrong.
Yeah, so wait a minute.
The math on Ingram tonight was 3.4 expected goals against, according to my count, and he let in 3. So that is a good night. Like, he's below expected goals, and he's and down the end. In the end, there wasn't a lot of tough shots in the last 10 minutes. Say there was one 5-alarm shot in the last 10 minutes, but he saved everything. So when he needed to be good, he shut the door. And you know what, Kurt? Both Jari and Ingram, God bless their mobility. Like, this is the coming from a goalie like Stu Skinner, who lacked a bit of that side to side mobility. It's great to see goalies moving well side to side, and we'll see over time what faults they have, Ingram and Jari, when he gets healthy again. But right now, that was just really good to see. Is a goalie. There was a couple plays where I noticed that where the puck was coming across the slot area, east to west or west to east, and he was able to track it and square and be right in front of the shot on a play that Stuart Skinner might have struggled on, and that was just very refreshing to see.
Yeah.
So,
Ingram looks like a capable puck handler as well. Not quite as good as Jerry, who I think is very good in that department.
Isn't he?
Yeah, he really quite slick. But Ingram, he's good along the walls. Like, yeah, I like how he handled when he rung the puck around tonight. And of course, Pickard is smart with the puck too, right? So I always believe the Mike Smith aspect of this. That helps a defenseman when you're coming back for retrievals. If your goaltender's putting the puck in the right place, man, that makes a huge difference. So, but now it's I guess we're going to see what's going to happen, right? First of all, Jari has to get better, so we'll see what 2 weeks or 2 months brings.
And this is, it's not a blessing in disguise that this has happened, but it does give us a sense of Ingram at the NHL level. Mm-hmm. And there's a question of whether Calvin Pickard is a good enough backup goalie. Well, it'll be good to know that they maybe have 3 goalies that they can count on in the playoffs. And if Ingram steps up here, and I think he's going to, be treated as the starter, I wouldn't be surprised. That's why
you're with the Oilers right now.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't see it that way at all. I think it's a 1A 1B situation right now.
Interesting because they got to find out.
Look, you're welcome to your view, David, but I don't think for a second Ingram's being
here's
brought
why you
here to
want
be
to
the starter right now until Jari's back. I don't agree with that at all.
Here's why you'd want to do it, Kurt. You've got to find out what you have. You have to find out if you have to make another trade, because you might not be. You can't count on Calvin Pickard to be your starter if Jari goes down. So I
agree with that, but I don't agree with giving him the starter share of the starts. That's why he's up here right now. As you know, there was lots of people who said, no, they should have brought the other guy up. Are you on crack? No, the other guy's an AHL goaltender. You're right, David. You do need to see if this guy can play in the NHL, so you know whether you need to go get another guy. But I agree. I disagree with your premise that he's the starter right now, flatly.
Well, you might be correct. Like, I might be incorrect, but I'm guessing that they're going to go with him as the starter. Like, I'll bet you a coffee that they go 50-50 between now and when Tristan Jari's back. You're on, Kurt Leavins. You are on.
It's a bet.
You dirty rat.
You big spender. That's a coffee. We'll make it really wild. It's a grande.
Oh, Kurt, I'm a Tim Hortons guy or McDonald's. The grande stuff. You West Coast guys go for the grandes.
I guess so. I'm a self-admitted coffee snob. I have no problem admitting that. So.
Oh, are you?
Oh, yeah.
The Starbucks coffee is so burnt, like it's a very heavy taste, right?
Well, I say
And,
grande. That's not. I'm not necessarily a Starbucks guy. Yeah, for all the people that say, yeah, Starbucks, they're sure suffering from their burnt coffee, boy. They don't do very well at all as a company.
Yeah,
But
maybe
I
just-
don't. I barely drink Starbucks. They're an
what do you
American
drink? Where do
company.
you go?
I buy British Columbia roasted coffee. I haven't bought an American anything, David, in months, including coffee.
Wow. Is Tim Hortons American now?
Technically, their coffee is Canadian.
Is it?
It
the
is.
company not owned by an American company?
It is, but the
Holding
coffee, just like it depends where things are made, right? And it's.
Well, none of the coffee is Canadian. Like, is BC? Do they grow coffee beans in BC?
No, but they roast it here, right?
Oh, they
it's,
roast
it's,
it. Okay.
it's prepared here.
I didn't think
and most
you can't grow them here. Yeah.
Yeah, and most coffee beans aren't American either. They come from Ethiopia or South America or
Sure.
there's some coffee comes from Hawaii, but really it's a pretty small percentage of the marketplace. But now we're deep into the weeds on economics and coffee.
All right, Kurt. I will take that grande off your hands here next week.
All right. It's a bet, Mr. Staples.
You're probably right. Knowing Knobloch, how Chris Knobloch operates, I think don't listen don't bet the ranch on this one, on the betting market, on Bet 360.
It's too funny.
People bet on everything now, so maybe this will.
They do. Yeah, God.
Okay, Kurt, any final thoughts? Anything else you'd like to add?
Boy, I think we've kind of covered the landscape tonight, don't you? So we've covered a lot of ground. No, it's this game ended up a little closer than you would have liked, but the Oilers were still the best team on the ice, and I think they deserved the 2 points. Where they full value for it, yeah. But hey, as I like to say, and I'm not the first person to say this, when you get to the end of the season, no one's going to look back at your record and go, well, that 4-3 game against Vegas, should have been a 4-1 game. It's 2 points. Move on.
Vegas is a different team without Jack Eichel. Jack Eichel
Yes, they are.
is, for my money, the best two-way player in hockey. Like, I think he is a fantastic defensive player, and he's obviously a great attacker. So,
well, what I do think is he's the stir that stirs stirs the drink in Vegas, right?
He sure
like
is.
Reggie was for the Yankees. So,
alrighty, Kurt. Thanks for talking tonight.
It was a pleasure. I'm looking forward to that coffee.
And again, I want to thank the sharpest, smartest, wisest, sanest fans in hockey, Edmonton Oilers fans, and the faithful of the cult of hockey. And in between time, I got that wrong. In the meantime, and in between time, this has been another edition of the Cult of Hockey podcast.